Welcome back on the AM show. We continue with our next big story, and we'll be talking about the Ghana Education Service Occupational Pension Scheme, GESOPS for short. Now, these contributors are unhappy with how their fund money is being used. They accuse the Ghana Education Service of misusing their funds for non-sanctioned activities, like being a headline sponsor for the 2022 National Teachers Awards. They've put together an RTI request, and this morning we interact with the convener of Innovative Teachers, Stephen Desu. He joins us for a conversation. Mr. Desu, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the call. So let's start with why all of this has become an issue. But before that, at what level do you teach? Where do you teach? Just
at the basic level.
At the basic level. Yeah. Okay. Would you like which area do you teach in?
Well, I used to be at the GES level, but I've been sent to the primary school, so I'm in class 1.
Okay. Now, looking at the petition that you've put forward to the RTI Commission, there are so many angles to it. But I'd like to start with the background to this entire Tier 2 pension scheme and how your group got involved. Tell us a bit about that before we get into that statement that you've put out.
Okay, so over the years, workers have been complaining about the meager, lump sum that's paid to them by SNIT. And so that led to a lot of agitations at the time that former President Kufuor was in power in 2004. And so the president accepted the idea from unions that there should be a pension reform. So committees were put up, issues went back and forth, the government issued a white paper. And in December 2008, the president ascended to the Pension Act, Act 776, to be in operation. And then when President Mills took over government, he launched it in 2009. But in 2010, the deductions started. And so the NPRA, which is National Pension Regulatory Authority, had what they call TPFA account, as in temporal fund account, where teachers' contributions or workers' contributions were put in the account at Bank of Ghana, waiting for the trustees to be formed before the monies were transferred to them.
Right.
And so that's the background. But the basis for the second tier pension scheme, as in the pension reform, that brought the first tier, which is SNIT, the second tier, that is GESOPS in the case of GES, and the third tier, which is not compulsory but voluntary on the part of any worker that wants to put his money in a company that he or she chooses. And so that's the background to that. But again, it had to do with the way SNIT has been managing the affairs of workers' money over the years. And you and I know about the Auditor General report pointing out to a lot of malfeasance, abuse, misuse, and plain thievery of workers' money. And
you call it plain thievery?
Of course,
what justifies those statements?
SNIT is highly notorious for some of the things that they have been using our workers' money for.
Can you spell out some of them?
Some are in court anyway, so I do not want to, engage in that bothersome contempt of court. But for us as workers, we feel peeved that, persons who are in charge of SNIT retire on their salaries. But if you look at a teacher who has taught for 32 years, 38 years, gone on retirement, then you look straight into that teacher's face and say, take 10,000 cedis and go home. When the SNIT board's monthly salary is more than 80,000, how do you justify this in any, fair and equitable society? And so for us, we think that the idea of the second tier is a good one, only if the ills of SNIT would not be visited here. But if the ills of SNIT is visited on the GESOP money, it will be like taking one step forward and taking 2 steps backward. And so it will be worse off as workers or teachers if we do not, open our eyes to see or do what is in governance called checks and balances. Because we see there's a lot of weak internal controls. It's like a group of people have gathered around the money. It's like they decide whatever they want to do with the money, regardless of what the law says. And so for me, that's where we are coming in with our RTI request.
So that's the bone of contention. We'll come to other points that you make, and I see you holding that request there, the legal request you've put through. But I would just like to pick your thoughts on the debt exchange program. And pension schemes have been, taken out as of now. I'm sure you're happy with that.
Of course. I mean, all of us do not want any haircut. Especially at the time when I've already told you about the meager nature of, teachers' lump sum and pensions and all that. So when you go and touch that, you already, making the teachers or the workers worse off. So we are happy that at the end of the day, the debt exchange has been, did not affect Ghanaian workers' pension. And so from our point of view, what we are saying is that moving forward, now that it has not affected us, could it be that some people who are on the board of trustees are doing the right thing, or they are doing things, either act of omission or commission, that results in throwing our money away? Not even a haircut. This is a head cut, virtually.
It's not a haircut, it's
yes,
a head
when you
cut.
throw our money away, you are giving the money head cut. Haircut is when the government says that they want to expand the spectrum in terms of the year they won't pay the interest and the principal amount and all that. But when you take our money and you throw it away, you are not giving the money a haircut. You are giving it a head cut. And that's what some of us come in and we think that the level of transparency that will require from the GESOPS Board of Trustees, they've not done so. From 2016, when the GESOPS was formed, the quantum amount of money that was given to them by the NPRA through the Bank of Ghana, they've never mentioned it to anybody.
So that has not been disclosed?
Yes, we don't know. And monthly, all the contribution that has been made from teachers has not been known to anybody. So the whole thing has been cloaked.
Have you ever requested this information apart from this current?
No, this is the first time. This is the first time you're making that request. We've never done that before.
No, but I mean, whether orally or has there ever been a request that some of these pieces of information be made known to you?
Well, under normal circumstances, if I'm going on retirement, let's say this year, and then I appear before, say, the fund manager, and the fund manager tells me that I'm entitled to say 6,000 cedis. What shows that what you're giving me is the actual amount?
Don't you get statements?
Well, they have something. They have USD short code where teachers can go and check their contributions. That is also problematic in a way.
How so?
Okay, so we tracked a teacher's contribution over the years, over a period of time, less than 100 days. And the amount of money we saw that has accrued to him over the course of less than 100 days was more than the 1,200. And we know that between March last year and today, the government has not remitted the deduction that was taken from teacher salaries to the GESOPS, trustees for investment. So it means that this money came from the interest or dividend that was invested. The question is, in less than 100 days, where did that 1,200 cedis in addition to that money came from?
But that would actually be a pro, not a con, right?
When we juxtapose that with teachers who went on retirement 2 years ago, receiving 6,000, it gives a lot of worry.
So 6,000 in total?
Yes.
That's the total amount?
Yes, some receive 4,000. You understand? So if a teacher who receives less salary in terms of his rank today is quoted to have 28,600 as his contribution as we speak, but a teacher who was a senior teacher with higher rank, who started contributing with the same young teacher from 2010 to 2020, that teacher went home with 4,000, 6,000. But this teacher, within just 2 years, is quoted to have 20,000.
So there are some anomalies.
Yes, yes.
Do you know what could be accounting for this?
Well, we can only hazard a guess as to what it is, but through the questions that we ask, that when they provide the answers, they can give us insight into that. So
let's get into those questions. So 8 of you are the convener for the group.
Yes.
8 of you actually signed your names, or your names are there, and you referenced that the letter is pursuant to the client's fundamental human rights, of course, those are your lawyers, pursuant to Article 21F of the Constitution of Ghana and Section 18 of the Right to Information Act 2019. And you walk us through quite a number of matters. Let's take them bit by bit. So you talk about requesting a copy or copies of the relevant documents from the temporary pension fund account. You talk about seeking a copy of the consent judgment obtained by GESOPS as a plaintiff in a suit against the government of Ghana in 2013. You talk about a copy of the document regarding the amount government failed to pay from the temporary pension fund, the bank statement as provided. And then you mention in point 5, a copy or copies of the statement of account that exists in the name of the Ghana Education Service Occupational Pension Scheme. Which outfit is it the Ghana Education Service?
No, Ghana Education Service is different from GESOPS.
No, I get it. I mean, which outfit usually would get these details, the GESOPS details?
Oh, the Board of Trustees.
The Board of Trustees?
Yes, the Board of Trustees. They have the details.
Who and who are on the board?
Well, the unions are at GES workplace, of which we are part of it, but we are being prevented from.
That's why I'm mentioning the GES. So the GES should be privy to this information, right?
Yes, if they have reps there. That is, if they have reps there on the GES.
You're not sure whether they have a representative?
Well, that's what we are requesting for, even the list of those on the board. The issue here is that government too has reps there. So it's not only the union that has reps there. So it constitutes the unions and government reps who constitute the GESOPS Board of Trustees.
And you put the name of the account is GESOPS Board of Trustees, is that it?
Well, the account here is a letter that surfaced on social media a month before the professional development allowance was deducted from teachers' professional development allowance for payment of the 30% of the One Teacher, One Laptop project.
Okay.
And so what we saw was that this account was supposed to receive a portion of the deduction from teachers. And so if this account is anything to go by, then it's a public account. And so we want to know the details of this account statement and what has been happening to it.
You also talk about an escrow account. In the
Yes.
same letter dated the 26th of October 2021, which you reference, you say the Director General of the GES called for the opening of an escrow account that would yield interest. Kindly provide the bank statement of the escrow account and documents that show the performance of that account since it was opened.
Yes.
Again, you mention was made of this escrow account that would be set up. You have no further details of that as a teacher.
Well, the issue is that when this account was opened, based on the letter that we have referenced,
Right.
The idea here was to open it so that they can generate dividends or interest so that more laptops can be produced based on what we read in the letter. And so we want to know the details of what has happened to the escrow account that was opened with our money. As in the professional development allowance. Yes.
Okay. So all these requests you have put to bear, some 24 of them, right?
Yeah.
So seeking documentation showing that government has paid 70% of the said amount to the GESOPS used to pre-finance the manufacturing of 280,000 laptops and 18% interest on that amount. What communication has there been from your group to the Ghana Education Service on some of these relevant matters? Have you even taken the step of interacting with them?
Well, they have received it and they are yet to respond to that. So for now, that's what we can say.
So you're saying they have received a copy of this document that you have here?
Yes.
How long has it been since they got a copy?
Last week, Friday.
Last week, Friday.
Yes.
And for the board?
For the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Does the board of GESOPS have a copy of this?
Yes, they do. They do. This is what they received and acknowledged receipt of same.
So basically, all of them got this information sometime last week?
Yes.
What is your anticipation in terms of how long it will take for you to get any responses from the various...
Well, we've given them 30 days to give us a response, and then we'll take it from there.
And for the pensions fund, what's the approach with them?
The pension fund?
Yes.
As in the pension fund managers or?
Yes, the managers.
Oh, the managers, we don't have a problem with them. Our issue is about those who give direction, because the work of the, what do you call it, the board of trustees is to direct the activities of the fund managers. So the fund managers listen to the board of trustees. And so whatever they tell them to do is what they will do.
So for now, you don't have a problem with the fund managers?
Yes,
it's the board you have a problem
yes,
with?
It's a board of
the
trustees.
GESOPS board.
Yes, that we have a problem with it.
So this is an interesting bit that you've put out here. But do you know how much is involved in terms of...
We don't, unless they give us the information.
This is pretty opaque in a way, because you don't know how much is involved.
Yeah.
And that is partly because you've not been given much information.
Yes, of course.
Over time.
Yeah.
Since when, 2016?
Yeah, since 2016. But the information ought to have started from 2010 up to this time.
So you're basically saying from 2010 till 2023?
Yeah.
Or 2022?
Yes. Nothing has come out from that.
A period of about 12 years. You, the teachers involved who have been contributing to the scheme, know nothing about how much you've contributed so far.
Yeah, nothing has come out from them.
You don't know how much has accrued to you on the back of those contributions you have made. Yes. You have practically little to no information.
Yes.
About your pension contributions.
Yes. We don't.
But why have you waited this long?
Well, for us, we've been looking at giving them the benefits of the doubt. That they
for 12 years?
Well, for them to do the right thing, but over the course of time, we've noticed that things are not going right, and so we need to step in to do the right thing. So that's the reason why we filed this request. Better late than...
How long have you been convener of this group?
Well, we just put ourselves together, and then we started sensitizing teachers on this, so that teachers will be aware of what their monies are being used for, basically.
Before you took charge and decided together with your team to go ahead with this, did you have any leadership as teachers?
Oh, there's leadership. Teachers have leadership.
No, I'm not talking of general leadership. I'm saying specifically on this matter. Had you had any leadership, anyone serving as an arrowhead pursuing this matter?
Oh, no, I have offered myself to lead this process. So that's what we're doing now.
So how many teachers in essence are involved in all of this? I mean, how many teachers are you fighting for, so to speak?
So we're talking about more than 280,000 plus teachers and educational workers. So they are the ones we're talking about.
More than 280,000. Same
teachers,
number that is referenced as far as the laptops are concerned.
Yes, and educational workers who are also more than 70,000. So when you add the figures, you're getting close to...
So what, 350,000?
Yes, contributors.
Because 280,000 plus 70,000 thereabouts will give you 350,000.
Yes, so that's the number of contributors every month. And we are at a loss as to what the money is being used for in terms of investment, so that we know exactly how much is accruing, so the teacher can know that, okay, if the money was invested at, say, 20% per annum or for 5 years, you can sit and calculate the amount of money that is supposed to be.
5% on the amount?
Yes.
Over 5 years?
If we don't know.
I mean, yes, mathematically.
So the teacher, before he goes on retirement, will not be relying on the USD code, but can calculate how much is supposed to get at the end of the day.
How much is due him or her?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. But if you don't do that and everything is in an opaque manner, it becomes a problem. For me, that's what the problem is.
So now, talking of other things, now you say your funds, you're not getting the required details on the dividends that may be accruing to you and all of that.
Yeah.
But are you also concerned about some things that your funds are being used for? Tell us about some of them.
Okay, so the last straw that brought the cameras back was an issue where, of course, I was listening to Joy FM a day before the event of Best Teachers Prize that last year. And the advert came that our money is being used as a sponsor, GESOPS as a headline sponsor of the 2022 Best Teachers or Ghana Teachers Prize. So we're alarmed. And it was like, the money is not meant for this purpose, but it's meant for a different purpose. So we don't understand why the money is being used for the sponsorship of Best Teachers Prize, when the law clearly says that you cannot do so. So we decided that we are not going to allow these things to go on. If we don't bring it to their attention that you cannot use our money for that purpose, next time we can use our money for other things, which is not in line with the law. And so we decided that we'll file this for them to know that what they are doing is wrong, and that we are requesting them to tell us how much they spent on the best teacher's prize in terms of the amount that they spent on it. And now talking about the best teacher's prize, we moved to the One Teacher, One Laptop project. This is where they use our money to pre-finance the project. So the pre-finance of the best the laptops was done at the instruction of the GESOPS Board of Trustees. Right. But our issue with that is simply that if you are using our money to do these things, the question is, has the government paid it right now? The amount of money that you have invested for government to repay.
That was invested from your funds?
Yes.
Right.
Has the government paid right now? Now note this, that the government has not paid anything to the account since 2022 March to today. Government has not paid any money to the GESOPS Board of Trustees. So as we speak, has government paid that money to them and paid the interest that they are charging on based on the agreement they signed with Ghana Education Service to pre-finance the. So we see this as conflict of interest position, and we call it an incestuous conflict of interest position because some of them doubles as union executives.
You call it what? An incestuous conflict of interest?
Because today you are union executives, tomorrow you are a GESOPS Board of Trustee member. You go for a company that you selected yourself.
Which people are you referring to?
Nat Naga CCT executives chose a company themselves and introduced that one to the Ministry of Education. And the Ministry of Education awarded that company a contract to produce 280,000 laptops. And when government of Ghana told them that the government is broke and they didn't have money to manufacture the laptops, then they said, okay, we have money here, so let's use it to pre-finance it. So it seems like anything concerning teachers which does not fit the law, they will use our money to sponsor. And that is for us a huge problem for us because the law clearly states that the GESOPS Board of Trustees must invest the money and charge interest on it and give it to the teachers when they retire. That's the basic thing that they have to do. That's all. Beyond that, they are not supposed to do anything beyond that. So basically, that's the point that we are trying to make here.
Again, I'll pose the question about, yes, we heard about these laptops. I recall hearing from the Ministry of Education when this matter came up, and even when some challenges arose and NAT and CCT, GH and NAGRAT raised some concerns. I remember hearing the ministry reacting to some of these and talking about the fact that even in terms of these procurements and the rest, it was your own groupings that came forward with proposals. Yes. But have you interacted with those bodies on this? I don't think you raised any concerns at the time.
About what?
About your funds being used to...
No, we didn't raise any issue about that, but rather...
To pre-finance...
No, we didn't raise any issue about that. We didn't raise any issue about that. But when it started with 1, later we moved to 2, then we know that no, more will come up. So we have to step up to do this. So that's the reason why.
In the interim, let me just find out from you, have all of you, the teachers, at least those who are involved, have they received these laptops?
The teachers, no. Those at the primary level have not received it. Most of those at the KG level have not received it. They started distributing it from the SHS level, moved to, what do you call it, GHS level, then they want to move to KG, instead of giving it to those in the primary school. So that's where they want to finish off at. So
you say most of them at the basic level have not got it. Do you have any numbers that you can give us?
Well, they cannot give us numbers. We don't know. Everything is in a very opaque manner.
You are at the basic level, right?
Yeah, we are at the basic level.
Have you got your laptop?
Well, at the time that they distributed, I was at the GHS level. But, we had an issue where we took the matter to court, if you remember. The court dismissed our matter on the basis that we didn't have locus as the union name as a plaintiff in court. If you understand what I mean, because the unions that went to court over the laptop issue were not deducted, were not as an artificial person. You understand? So this is the reason why we appear here as natural persons in our capacity to ask those questions.
I get the point.
Not in the name of a union that may stand a chance of being quashed in court in case the matter ends up in court. So now we are using our name as a natural person. Sir.
Right, I get it. But back to my question, did you get a laptop?
Well, I was called by my district officers that they have that, but the principal position that we've taken that the laptop is shrouding a lot of controversy and a whole lot of issues, and for us it's not of good quality, of which many teachers are no more using the laptop. It has developed a lot of faults, and teachers are no more using. Some have given it to their children, others have given it to their wives, some have sold the laptops, a whole lot of issues with it. So
you're saying that the quality of the laptops that were distributed
they are not good.
was at a low level?
Of course. And most of them are, they are breaking down. If you can do your research through the schools, as schools are reopening today, the teachers can tell you. So what we are saying is that it's like anything that concerns teachers that there's no money to do, they will use some money to do it. And government can choose to pay, government can choose not to pay. If government doesn't pay this money, is it not a head cut?
So you, the teachers, will be eventually affected?
Yes, because if you give our money to government because of this laptop project, and for years the government is refusing to pay, that's a haircut.
Let me ask you this question. You didn't take delivery of your laptop.
Yes.
You were alerted to come for it. You didn't go for it.
Yes.
But from your colleagues who have got these laptops, I guess we never really found out. What brand is it?
Well, the brand is not a known brand that all of us are aware of. Does
it have a brand name?
Yes, it's called TM1. We don't know any laptop anywhere in the world called
So
TM1.
what we were told initially, that's just a TM1.
TM1, that's all. And it's a locally, like a local company that assembled it or made it up for the teachers. And they don't have any track record in manufacturing of laptops. Yeah.
So how would you, if on a scale of 1 to 10, you had to assess how viable that project has been? Because giving you the teachers laptops is a good thing, right?
It's a good thing.
But in terms of how it's been handled,
only that the quality.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
For me, I will give it 1.
1 over 10?
Yes, because everything connected with this has nothing to do with the teacher. Everything connected with is a matter of making money. From our point of view, that's why we say it. It's just about the money that some people want to make, and that's what they want to use.
Who are these people?
Well, I mean, the whole gamut of persons who, gathered around this whole laptop thing. I mean, it's for me and the others, it's just a means by which some people can make money through the laptop production, but not really about addressing the need of a teacher in terms of laptop. As we speak today, there are teachers in the classroom who are given HP laptops as head teachers, and as we speak today, the laptops are functioning by donor agencies.
Right.
But when it came to the teachers in the classroom, they rather gave them TM1, which most of them are not functioning now. And
so you mean within this short period?
They are breaking down.
These laptops are already
They are breaking down. You can go to this. Your reporters are all over the place. They can go to the districts to go and find out what the schools to find out how far these laptops are performing from the SHS level to GES level, and now at the KG level.
Your colleagues here, did any of them take the laptops?
There are many of them here who have not taken it, but some others I cannot tell. 3 of them I cannot tell. But the first 5, I can say for sure that they didn't take it. But the 6, 7, 8 persons on this list, I do not know about that. I have not asked them anyway.
All right. Let's move the conversation forward. So now that you filed this request, what are your expectations? I want us to talk briefly about 2 other subjects, very briefly. But just to wrap on this, what are your expectations?
Well, expectation is that the optics concern this GESOPS thing as being opaque, that you use that word opaque, doesn't give a good optics about how the thing is performing. And we have a lot of our teachers who have retired and virtually crying every day because they were not given much in terms of their lump sum. The question is, if tomorrow these teachers come together in a class action and ask the GESOPS board to tell them the reason why they were entitled to X amount of money and not Y amount of money or P amount of money, what would they say? You understand my point? And so it is important that when they want the teachers to believe them, entrust what they are doing, I mean, as in the best interest of the teachers who are young and those who are about to retire, everybody will be happy with it. And so we expect them to deliver on the request we are making. And not be adamant about, giving
and we'll pursue this matter, especially when there is any response to this RTI request. Sometimes requests are put through. There are requests that have been put through even by our media organization, and sometimes there are quite a number of bottlenecks. But to wrap the conversation, so free SHS and a likely review, as well as the confirmation of the new GES boss. What is your take on these two matters?
Well, let's start with free SHS. That I think that over the years, even the finance minister came out to say that those who can pay should pay. And I think that should be the policy that must guide the government moving forward.
Those who can pay should pay.
Of course. I mean, we have been boxed in a tight economic corner. And we have to throw in the towel and surrender that at this moment in time, leaving free SHS the way it is, it's a luxury the country cannot afford moving to the future. The idea of if you make those who can pay and those who cannot pay, as in giving them scholarship, as discriminatory, is neither here nor there. Nobody, no country fits boarding school students, apart from what you have here. And again, we should not be looking at free SHS from the context of just funding, but we should see or look at it from the point of view of how we can situate the skill development of these children so that when they leave that place, they can compete with their counterparts in Asia and other places. For me, that's the most important aspect of it, because if you reduce everything to funding funds, as in feeding and other things, you will run a risk of having a situation where you are giving people schooling and a little of education. And for me, that's what we are doing in Ghana.
We're giving people schooling,
a lot of schooling, yes,
but not...
The education is limited based on the relevance of the 21st century. Because the skills that students in other countries ought to have to meet the demands of today is not what we are doing here. Ours is still steeped in the colonial era kind of education. And that, of course.
We've been talking about moving away from the Gaggisberg economy. So maybe we should also move away from the Gaggisberg educational systems.
Of course. It starts with the education system. It's the educational system that transformed China. The Singaporean, miracle couldn't have taken place without education. Relevant education. You can have education, but ask yourself, is that relevant? If you are teaching children or students how to make typewriter with the best of equipment, that is quality typewriting education. What's the relevance of that today? It's not relevant. They won't take it anywhere because nobody used typewriters.
So you say we are having what?
We're having a lot of schooling.
Schooling? But you're going to school?
Yes, we're going to school. Chew, pour, pass. Forget about what you've learned. Just get a certificate. That is the reason why our economy has been dominated by foreigners. That's the reason why after so many years of independence, we cannot add value to our cocoa, our gold. Everything has been dominated by foreigners.
The final point, the GES boss.
Yeah.
Do you have any issues with that?
Well, we as innovative teachers didn't have any issue with him having been appointed. The issue is that National University went on strike because of his appointment, pointing out that he's not a teacher or he's not a known educationist. But our point of view was that both the professors from KUST or Legon or from UCC or Winneba, who sometimes become GES bosses, are also viewed as outsiders because they are not GES staff.
Right.
They are somewhere else. These professors would never teach in KG. These professors would never teach in primary school. They will never teach in GHS. They will never teach in SHS. But when they come to GES top job, they run for that one. What is there at the top that they want that those of us should mark time at the GES ranks so that we'll never get there? They will come from somewhere to take the same mentor.
But you say from somewhere. They are part of the educational system. At the tertiary level, they are part of the educational
I get that, but they are not part of GES. So we also see them as outsiders.
Right.
Just like Professor Dr. Nkansa, the new GES.
So you have no problem with him, but
we don't.
also...
If he can do things that will impress teachers and solve their problems for us, what's the problem? If he can do things that solve problems of teachers, the teachers are looking for solutions. And if somebody who has come to deliver the solution is available, why not? That's what the teachers want. And for me, there are a lot of issues the teachers want to see being attended to.
Okay.
And part of it has to do with the fact that the teachers have promotional issues. Some have, in fact, 104 teachers went to court to secure a judgment debt of their legacy arrears, which have not been paid by government since 2011, 2016. And the government is defaulting in paying them. It's a shame. He must address that issue and make sure that the others who couldn't get money to go to court get their money from the government through a validation exercise. For me, he has a lot of work to do. The teachers, the mass of the teachers are the judges or will be the judges of his work, and not union executives who for what we call their parochial interests are now strike, and it didn't change anything much about.
Mr. Dusu, we'll have to wrap the conversation here. I also noticed that there is a message coming through from one Francis Sapong. Just to let you know, we've seen your message. You say there is some serious fighting going on somewhere. I don't want to give out the details because we cannot substantiate the information you're putting out, but Francis will follow up on that information. You say the police is there and some action is going on. That's how we wrap the conversation we've been having with Stephen Desu, convener, Innovative Teachers. They want their pension funds. They want details of that and how it is being managed. But before we take a breather and come and wrap the conversation, water is life. It regulates your body temperature, keeps you alive and kicking. Awake is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. We have the perfect sizes for all occasions: 330, 500 ml bottles to fit your pockets and bags, 750 ml for the heavy drinkers, and 1.5 liters for those who always want more. We have introduced our special 19-liter jars for offices and homes. Now, you just need to stay awake with Awake Purified Drinking Water wherever you go. So come on, grab a bottle of Awake and get quality hydration. It's one for life. Remember, for every bottle you purchase, an amount is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. It's produced by Casapreco. For bulk purchases, just call 0262 351 251. This advert is FDA approved. Stay. We'll be right back.